Hey guys, in this video I'm going to teach you how to paint two easy Grimdark style Tyranids, and by the end of this video I'm also going to show you some little tweaks and changes we can make to our colours to achieve a completely different outcome. In this video we're going to be specifically taking a look at a paler skin tone and a darker skin tone. These are really easy and fast. I think each one literally took me around 20 minutes each to paint. So if you do enjoy this video, make sure you do hit that thumbs up, and if you're not already, please remember to hit that subscribe button. Now the first thing we want to be doing with our paler skin one, you can base coat this with either Wraithbone or any sort of light tone. I use Israeli sand because I use it through an airbrush just to undercoat my miniatures and prime them up. And then what we're going to do is go into some washes. Now we're only going to be paying attention to the skin areas. We're not going to be touching the carapace with this. And the first wash that I'm going to be applying to this is Targor Ragshade. Now I'm not applying this straight out of the pot. The technique that I'm using is I'm dipping my brush into the water and then into the paint, so it dilutes it a little bit and it just makes it easier to be spreading around, because I don't want it to be too intense. I just want it to be subtly there, just to act as like a filter to the entire skin. And then after that, places such as like joints and stuff like that, we're going to be using Carroburg Crimson, and this is just going to be applied to areas like the joints and around the mouth area and inside the mouth, any areas that you sort of want a bit more contrast and to stand out a little bit. Next up is the contrast paint Sigvald Burgundy, and this is just going to be applied to places like the tongue and the mouth. And then on Tyranid you get these like little indentations on the skin where they've got like these little lines and stuff on the arms, and it's just going to be applied into those crevices as well. And once you've done that, all the carapace and everything like that, we're going to just paint and base them in black. Any black will do. And then I'm going to use the dry brushing technique on all those carapace areas. Now the paints I've used for that is AK Smoke, AK Ash, and then a final dry brush of AK Neutral Grey. But any sort of greys going up from a black, or you can just get a bit of white and mix it in each step that you go up. And I'll just give these a light dry brush over all the carapace areas. And then it's just a case of just painting in those tiny little details such as like your eyes and your teeth. I just used Wraithbone and just gave them a little coat over, and any other details that you might want to paint on the gun depending on what sort of colours and stuff you want it. I sort of keep it in line with the Tyranid scheme itself. Once that is dry, we're going to get out the old trusty Streak and Grime, which is going to create our Grimdark look. Now, I'm only applying this, the Streak and Grime, to the skin areas. Now, the reason for that is because on the carapace, I'm going to be using Rust Streaks. So that's AK Rust Streaks. And this just gives the miniature a different look, and it just separates again those two parts. You can apply the Streak and Grime to everywhere. If you've only got one, it doesn't really make a difference. I just like to have a little bit of different variation from each one. And once that, again, that's dry, we're going to move into our trusty old removal technique with these makeup sponges. These are my new favourite thing. They're not as abrasive as cotton buds, but just go around and wipe it all off, leaving everything into the crevices. And once it's dry, it'll give you that beautiful Grimdark look. And the last thing we're going to do is Wraithbone and just give that an entire dry brush all over the skin, and this just makes everything stand out and pop just that little bit more. Now for basing, all I did with this, we'll use some standard like technical paint on the bottom. I used a little bit of flock with some PVA glue, and that is one of our Grimdark minis Tyranids painted up and ready to go on the battlefield. So now let's get into the darker toned skin version. Now for the darker black skin toned one, we're going to use the exact same greys as what we've used before, which is Ash and Smoke Grey by AK Interactive. And for this I'm applying the dry brush to the entirety should I say, of the miniature. And we're just going to keep dry brushing this. If you've never seen this dry brushing technique with these texture palettes, then I'll leave a link to the artist Opus video which teaches this, which is, you know, a way that I think we should all be dry brushing so you don't get that chalky effect. I highly recommend going to watch that video. And then the difference, what we're going to do now is use a colour by AK called Medium Flesh. Now a great substitute for this, if you're going to mix it, would be Cadian Flesh Tone. Now what we're going to do is mix that, a little bit of that in with our blacks and our greys, and we're going to apply that to the skin. Now this gives us like a really strange, warm, fleshy, dark tone to our mini. It's a look that I really like for the Tyranids, and we're only going to dry brush that onto the flesh areas, increasing that flesh colour each time that we dry brush until you get to your desired brightness. And then, as we've done with our previous miniature, we're going to apply streak and grime into all the skin areas and the rust streaks to the carapace. Again, wait for it to dry and then go into your trusty removal process with your cotton bud or your sponges and just remove it, leaving everything in the crevices. And then after you've painted a couple more details onto your mini, like the teeth, and added any little bits of details on the guns, and do the colours in whatever colours that you want, like the eyes and stuff like that, you're pretty much done with this mini. One last thing I did add to both minis, which you can do with gloss varnish, but it doesn't achieve the effect that I do, which is the wet effect, and this is available to all members of this channel. So for as little as $1.99 a month, you can support this channel and get instant access to the wet effects. Now I did say I would show you some different versions of things that we can do to get different effects, so just by changing the washes that we used first of all to like purples or blues and stuff, it'll get you a completely different outcome. Adding greens to our skin tone, you get a different outcome, and even going so crazy as to paint the carapaces a completely alternative different colour, like this bone one. If you want to get really crazy, this is some sort of crazy blue aqua, crazy Tyranid, but just changing up your skin tones can really make a difference to the entire outcome of how it looks. So if you wanted like a flesh tone one and you wanted a bit of variation across your army, you can just change the tones of the washes that you do and get a completely different outcome. So again, thanks for watching this video. If you've enjoyed it, it really helped me out if you could share it with your friends, hit that subscribe button, and most of all, leave a comment and hit that subscribe button. Next video we'll be going into a little bit more in depth at the details and stuff of how to paint Grimdark Tyranid. So if you don't want to miss out on that, then make sure you hit that subscribe button. Again, we've got a competition running with this Leviathan series, which is coming to an end very soon, and I'm going to be giving away the entire painted box set of the Leviathan series, all the painting tutorials on this channel, as well as all the miniatures free to you. So if you don't want to miss out on that, please make sure you are a subscriber to find out how you can win it.